Hello and welcome to the foothills of the Stormhorns for what is the level 28 episode of Purple is the Chosen One. We're sitting here by this little rest shrine, tucked away against the rock face here, out of the wind. And let's see what we've got to share with you this time around. I've been talking on and off about this blade barrier, and it's something new that I've discovered that I had never previously used. Still been using it situationally, often in front of a closed door. I've just done the quest, it's the one at the end of the bridge in Evening Star with the mask, what's it called? It doesn't have a Reaper equivalent, it's actually a level 30 quest. Is it Mask of Deception, I think it might be called. So the damage we took was quite heavy when we got hit, as befits that level, but we were really cleaning up, on the offensive side. Whenever there was a group in the distance, the sound burst and firestorm tactic was absolutely mashing it, so that was very nice. What was I going to say? Yes, blade barrier. I found the best use I found for it at the end of one of the Wayloon chain, the one with the mad guys at Carleth swinging the big whatever it is he swings around and puts you that stunning effect on, which isn't particularly nice. When all those howlers pop up as well, I was running for my life, and I was literally running for my life, dropping these blade barriers behind me, and the howlers were just dying because I was circling round and round, and yeah, so that was the best use I found. But putting a couple of those down and forcing the opponents to run through them to get to you has been a really decent tactic for us, I think. Wagon, I think you mentioned that having switched to the Draconic Mantle, the barrier should also trigger our bonus damage effect now. I've gone and spoiled the surprise, haven't I? I've taken the leap and tried the switch simply because we were ending with loads of spell points, and I was thinking, why don't we just give it a little go, see if we can get these big long cooldown spells to be a little bit more often available, because that could help us too. So as I've linked into that, I might as well show you where the epic destinies are at. So I took us completely out of primal because I was in there really only for the what do you call it, evergreen thing. The one I really wanted was this. So 10% cooldown reduction when you're in the mantle, which we now are. This mantle also has an upgradable element there, so it does 3 ticks of damage beyond the first application when you hit something, so that's quite nice, especially if it's a Reaper or something. I've taken as many of the spell point reduction things as I can. Now we've got a 9 reduction on maximising our Angel of Vengeance tree, plus the 9 here. I've reduced quicken as well because everything we do is quickened, so hopefully that will help a bit. And I have, I think this was done already, got the evocation focus in this tree because we obviously lost the primal tree where it was. We've got all the nice things back in unyielding, the energy defences, the fortification, the renewal, the second core there for a bit more hit points. And I thought I would go into Exalted instead of Primal, just in case we happen to group with anyone, because we've got this minus on spell threat now. The third rank there is giving us a bit more extra spell power, so that's not terrible. That one's just taken as a filler to reach the second core, which is what I'll be going for with the next point that I get for a bit more spell power. And a few more spell points, which won't go amiss now that we're chewing through them. Now, as at least one of you has quite rightly said, shrines are a thing, use them. I've not been doing. I seem to be wanting to go through each quest and not shrine at all. Well, you know, they're a thing, so get them used. Get the Ring of Spell Storing into action, and make the most of the build. Now, while I'm looking at this, another thing I've done, which I should have done some time ago, I think it was done with particular reference to the chain I ran yesterday with the bear, which was the Delira's Tomb, the level 27 epic chain. And I thought to myself, there are too many instances, as Wagon quite rightly pointed out already, where there are things that need mopping up. My little spell like for Holy Smite is on cooldown, the Ash is on cooldown, and I'm thinking, well, do I waste a big attack on just finishing this? Well, we could have the Searing Light just quickened, nothing else, and just as a little finisher to do, you know, in between other things. And granted, because of the undead nature of that quest, it worked better than it normally would, but it worked like a charm. It was very, very good, and really I should have done that. I'm one of these who has to kind of see it. What do they call him in the Bible? I think they call him a doubting Thomas, don't they, from the Bible? And my name happens to be Tom, so perhaps it's no coincidence I have to see something to believe it and then act upon it. So I've learned by being in that situation, and I think it's definitely better to have the little Searing Light thing. As I understand it, Master of Light wouldn't have helped these two. It would only have helped the Sunbolt SLA that we had. So I don't regret not taking that. Feet at 28, I haven't noted it down, but I have a feeling we took Master of... Sorry, not Master of... the light one we took, didn't we? Yeah, Epic Spell Power Light. I do make quite some use of these two little things. There's also the Divine Wrath to consider, but also the fact that for any one of these, the last bit there, 5% universal spell crit damage, which isn't bad at all. I thought seriously about taking Deific Warding. That would have been 10 flat PRR and MRR, which would have been great, plus another potential, I think, 20, depending on how many times we get hit. So I seriously thought about taking that, and maybe should have done, given that most of our big attacks are fire-based, not light. So perhaps I made a bit of a mistake there, but we're motoring on towards the cap now, so if I did make a mistake, we won't be around too long to rue that one, I'm sure. I did finish the rest of the Wayloon chain on Reaper 2, so that felt quite good. The first one in Delira's we tried on 2. Both got mashed by a red crown ghast within 10 seconds of going in the quest, so we thought, right, okay, Reaper 1, and it went reasonably well. The Annie is the bear is playing, or was playing in those quests, as a celestial warlock, the electric one, and she brought to the table something I hadn't seen before. This let me get it right, ameliorate, however you pronounce it. It's supposed to be, as far as I can understand, either an instant death against undead, or if they make the save, is it maybe a freeze? Because I was shocked when in the quest with the 5 you've got to trigger the 5 what are they, light the 5 flames or something, and there's like a shade guardian on each one. Well, those shade guardians, she was freezing them with fear, and all we had to do was beat them down. So I thought, happy days. And that was something I haven't seen before in the game, and didn't even know existed. So that was a nice one to find. She's doing quite well on her little warlock build, but I get the impression, if any of you know the bear, she likes to be in the thick of the action. I think I will try to encourage her to have a go at the more tanky build, the Enlightened Spirit aura lock next time around, if she decides to take that character back down, because from Purple's experiences with that, he was almost unkillable in Heroic with all the temporary hit points he had and the refreshing rate, and the fact that the Reaper doesn't nerf that at all. And he performed very well in Legendary up to Reaper 6. We did a few quests with all. I think those are at the end of that particular series, if anybody's interested. But that build stood up very well. I was pleased with that. I look forward one day to putting Purple back in his Warlock build, but it seems he has other work to be done, a journey of discovery as this has turned into. So, we've mentioned that. We did a couple of little gibbers runs with the bear, but unfortunately didn't manage to find her gibber's blade. As I've mentioned once or twice, I was insanely lucky with Purple, because people can do, dozens of runs in there and not get lucky. Obviously playing on elite or higher helps, and running with a group improves the chances, but even so, it's a rare drop. So for me to just go wandering in there and do the quest just for XP as a one and done and find the blade is pretty crazy stuff. One of you mentioned in the comments that you'd arrived at one of these completely by random, and although you didn't know much, if anything, about the D&D, you stayed and just listened to the voice. I'm thinking that maybe my 15 minutes of waffle before any of the quests are shown is sending folk to sleep. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Maybe I should quit DDO and start doing the ASMR videos instead. Shout out to Abba, who's joined the server with the main character there and the guild today. I honestly never expected any of you to create characters on here and join in with our games, so that's been lovely, and I'm sure it's going to be great going forward. So I look forward to that. Now, in the past, we haven't done it recently, but in the past we did have enough to have a go at some short-manned raids, and if we can get a few more numbers, maybe we can be a bit more adventurous and try some different ones that we'd struggled with in the past with capped characters. That could be something nice moving forward. But even with like 3 or 4 of us, we managed to have a go at quite a good number of them, and find some decent items too. So perhaps we can have a try at that in the fullness of time. Right, I think that's about it for the waffle. The quest for today is the Tracker's Trap. I have, as far as I'm aware, I've completed everything else that needs to be completed for the 5 Evening Star sagas, apart from this chain in the Stormhorns, so this is the one for now. My biggest worry is running out of mana. I know there is a shrine somewhere towards the end of this one, and that's what I'll be looking to try and get to refresh for the end fight, which is pretty long and drawn out in this one. I hadn't realised either, talking of the Celestial Warlock, the array of decent buffs that it gets. She had things similar to me, Holy Aura, and things I don't have, like Prayer. So I'm thinking on... have I gone to the wrong thing here? Oh no, it's there. I'm thinking on hardcore, particularly a warlock like that could be more than useful. Not that I ever set foot in hardcore. One of the bears keeps trying to convince me to go and have a go, but I just don't think it's for me. Oh, look at that. I mean, that is just cleaning up, isn't it? That's Soundburst and Firestorm, and there's just nothing moving down there. Happy days. And from range, before he's even seen us. So for the shorter range, we go with the Burst of Glacial and then the Dragon Breath. Now the crowd control things I don't have, I just have what we need on there, so just quicken on that one. That's not for damage, it's there for the crowd control. Same for the sound burst, enlarge, heighten, quicken, no damage dealing stuff on there. Oh crud, I forgot about the pits. Okay, no, I'm done. I have wings as well. I could have just flown over that, couldn't I? What a bonus that was. All the things that all the things that we couldn't see that suddenly got revealed there as well. Very satisfying just to blow that Reaper away. Didn't get the Reaper this time, okay. That did. Happy days. I tell you what, people, we're beginning to rock and roll here, aren't we? That could be a pit, couldn't it? And when we started off, when we started off in Epics particularly, I was wondering how we were going to go on. But see, just with that little extra finisher, the second Searing Light on a very quick cooldown, between that, the SLA of Searing Light and the Ash, we've got enough, I think, to manage anything that comes wandering towards us. Oh, that's bad. Harper pin. Did they fall in the trap there? I think they fell in the trap. Well, fair dues, fair dues. I'll take a soul all day. That was just the Ash, the regular Ash, not the big Dragon Breath. I'm liking how that's scaled up. That's a definite note to self. That's kept pace with our level more or less, hasn't it? I think we need to fly over this, don't we? Oh, that's a mistake. The what, he died outright from the sound burst. How can you die from the sound burst? So the follow-up spell did not go where it was supposed to. That's unfortunate. Typical me, I dwell on the mistake rather than the fact we roasted them anyway. But that was the kind of thing I was doing all too often when I first started trying to do this tactic. And that was better. No, I think we've got some more up here. There are one or two up there we can't see as well. Not today, people, not today. And the supply of souls is standing us in good stead so far, on the spell point side. Oh, another mistake. Same mistake as last time, and this time we could pay for it. When the thing dies, I bet it's because the draconic thing. Yeah, that's one problem I didn't have with the primal mantle. The draconic one is the extra damage is triggering on every spell, isn't it? Just as you'd said it would. So sometimes when I'm leading with the sound burst and then wanting to do the firestorm straight after, the sound burst plus the trigger of the extra damage is killing the target and then leaving me with egg on my face when the firestorm goes off on me. Can I have a bonus point for remembering to trigger the wellspring? I should have done it much earlier, but better now than not at all. So now we're interspersing our big attacks with the little little searing light thing. Keeping the ash going to keep him debuffed and taking more fire damage, and that didn't go so badly. I tell you what, I was expecting to be on my hands and knees looking for this shrine to come, and it hasn't proved to be the case yet, has it? We missed that one. Okay. Is there a pit under here? Let's not risk it. Oh, you see there again it died, the target. That's a bit unfortunate. So I either need to get used to tabbing to a different target when that happens, which is more often than not, or just not complain when the target dies. Now is the shrine isn't there, is it? No, we've got to go a bit further. They're too spread out here. Let's do a barrier. Let's invite them in. Look at the range we've got. We've got the range of an archer on this thing. That's ridiculous. I suspected there might be another few that we hadn't seen there. Yeah, so absolutely was the right thing to do. I should have taken this advice much sooner to get the little searing light standard spell back on the bar, clean up things that avoid our big AoEs. Another mistake there. I wish things had stopped dying. Never thought I would say this. I wish things had stopped dying so quickly. So that's definitely been one unforeseen consequence of switching the mantle. Our sound burst is now triggering the extra damage, whereas in the primal one you have to cast the spells that your primal thing is focused on. So like we were heart, I think, weren't we? So positive, fire, light, and was that it? Maybe positive, fire and light. Anything like that triggered the extra damage, but here we've got it triggering on everything. And we made it to the shrine handily, didn't we? I suppose you could say if we'd been playing on a higher difficulty, we'd have used more spell points, both to heal ourselves and to kill them. So that's a thing as well. But no, I'm more than happy with that. We've looked good offensively, and that's meant that the crowd control's held up handily. So that kind of vindicates my decision to go for Intensify over Embolden at 27 for more damage. I almost daren't say it, but we're kind of cruising along here, aren't we? Of course, now I've said that, something will go horribly awry. I'm hoping not, because so far it's been a bit of a showcase of what the build can do. And we're going on now down towards the end fight, as far as I'm aware. Yeah.
The wizard Shy stands in the clearing, barring
Now.
our way. You, Anscar, has ordered your death.
Look at that.
Let's make this payment.
Just look at this. Oh, we didn't kill him, that's a mistake.
She draws on orbs in the corner of the glade, shielding herself.
This is proper rock and roll stuff, isn't it? Now, should we eliminate those while we can, or will they just come back? I don't know. Let's get rid of it, because they can wander across and cause trouble. They're still not moving now. Death from distance, can't beat it. Anytime we can take a group out like that is a time we don't have to face them face to face, so delighted. Actually, we might just be able to stand here in the middle and hammer these orbs. We've got the ticking damage going as well there. Okay. Reaper in the middle of that. We're dying. Yeah, that's one thing to bear in mind. We can start dying very quickly, going from a position of relative safety to almost dead in no time. Is that going to tick as well? Yes, it is. Notice the improved cooldown now we're in the Draconic Mantle on this Celestial thing. It was 30 seconds, I think. It's now... at worst 27, maybe even better than that. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, Fear Reaper. I haven't noticed you, sir. Okay, now you could do with a scorch, couldn't you, so we can damage you properly. Beautiful. Okay. I didn't even remember to do the wellspring. I was holding off on wellspring because I knew that the target here keeps fading in and out. I would say that's perhaps the most convincing completion we've had. I mean, it's a level 29 effective, isn't it? Albeit it's only Reaper 1, but we were rocking and rolling there for my money. I think we did alright. I won't be trying the what goes up on Reaper 1 because the constantly respawning stuff at the end has a habit of running you out of spell points quite quickly. But I'm more than happy with how that went. I thought we showed ourselves off pretty well there. As the levels have ticked by, I think we've got stronger, and maybe the player has got more accustomed to what's on offer with the build and used it better. I mean, I'd had in mind all along to try and enlarge the crowd control, and there I think there was a quest that really played into it. Some of the quests I've chosen have not enabled us to do that, but that one definitely did, and in the main we punished them for it, didn't we? One thing I could perhaps have done would have been to have chosen a heavier attack where it was available. I don't think I used the Divine Wrath once, and that's a consequence of me moving the little Searing Light spell into the number 2 slot, so the Divine Wrath has been pushed off out here, and yeah, I should have used it more. It was another option for an attack from distance, but the one I should have used more from distance was the Bombard. That would have cleared the packs instead of allowing the bits and pieces to come back towards us. But the Firestorm's been the most heavily used one. It's on such a short cooldown. That's the kind of the bread and butter of the build. Freeze with the sound burst, hit with the Firestorm, and not too much survives that. And then we just mop up the dregs. That I think we looked pretty good doing that too. So I'm not at all disappointed, even if it means we've used the Divine Wrath less. To have got this second little pew pew thing down here, and be mopping up the things that are in our face with it. I'm not too upset. I'm a bit peed off we never once tried the implosion, because quite a few times we did have things in our face that we could have finished off nicely with that. We did use the blade barrier once, didn't we? Could perhaps have used that more as well. I think I get sort of fixed in a mindset. Oh, this quest we're doing this strategy, and I don't pay enough attention to some of the other options we've got on our table. The implosion, for my money, has been underused throughout, and could have brought us a lot more. Being as it's evocation, I mean, that's just terrific. I can't quite explain it either, because an instant death effect being evocation, it might be the only one that's like that. It's nice because all of most of the spells that mean anything in this class are all evocation, so it ties in really well and means you can use it without doing something like on my cold druid I've had to give little bits to illusion for the greater colour spray, and also transmutation for the ice flowers, and now the new spell, the grasping thorns that they get for the crowd control. But on this, evocation everything, and it's meant that we've been able to just throw these glasses on, and everything's been catered for through that, and given us a save of around 80 now, I think, in Reaper for the evocation stuff, which has been lovely. I think I'd better stop the waffle there. So the future is going to be, well, basically, I think if we finish off the Stormhorns and take those 5 sagas we've got prepared, I think that's going to be us more or less at the cap. I think last time we didn't quite get to the cap because I'd forgotten to do one of the chains, the Lords of Dust chain, but it's been done this time around. So yeah, I think by the time we get to the end of the what goes up and take the 5 sagas, we'll be almost there, which kind of suits me because I don't have, for these kind of leveling builds, I don't have any decent legendary gear for them to wear at 29, so I don't have anything to sort of boost up the finish. What could we show at 29? Speaking of 29, I guess perhaps it'll be another one in the Stormhorns. Maybe it'll be that what goes up. Oh God, no, please. I suppose that would be a fitting way to go out, wouldn't it? With the swarms of things up on the top. I'm not a fan of the way that ends. The purple screen thing when those special shade things pop up. I'm not a fan of that because you can too easily fall down the hole or fall off the thing. There's like a hole in the middle that kills you if you fall down it. And just the mechanics in general. Things can be respawning, for ages and ages once you've seemed to have completed all the objectives. And then the end boss doesn't seem to pop up always, at least not straight away. So that can lead to a sense of frustration on a caster if you're sort of running on fumes spell point wise, just waiting for the guy to pop up again so you can complete the quest. So yeah, I have a feeling we might do that on Elite, but it's unfortunate because having seen what I've just seen there, we're more than capable of running through to the end of that on Reaper, but it's just the finish. We'll be taking quite a lot of damage from the groups that spawn on that flying glacier thing, and we'll be using quite a lot of spell points to contain them and to knock everything else down. So I just don't think we're going to last if we do it that way. On Elite, we would still have quite. Even if we were on Echoes of Power, I guess that's one thing, isn't it? We in this epic destiny. Now we're going to take this core now, and with that comes Echoes of Power. Now restores up to 30 spell points and an increased spell pool as well, spell point pool. So I suppose that's quite timely given the requirements of that quest. Yeah, 4,000. That's not terrible. Okay. Definitely time to stop waffling now, so thank you very much as always for looking. We will see you in the next one, which is looking like it might be what goes up. Take care.